What's up, everybody? I'm Martian Cat, and I think this is, maybe my second time, something like that, streaming on the Real Women in Gaming channel, and it's gonna be a good time. We're playing Vampire: The Masquerade: Reckoning of New York, which will be real cool. It's a game I've been wanting to play for a while now, so it's gonna be exciting. I think I've played the other two games in the series. Yeah. And let's see if it'll let me leave the volume or the audio on when the game is not in focus. That's all right. Let's see. Animations, hold interactions. and all the text will be up on the screen since I will be reading it. A little low? All right. I'll turn it up. I'll turn me up. And I got the master volume for the game at like 20% though, so it's just me. Let me fix that. It's a little toasty in our apartment now, so. You don't have to have played the other two games to get this one, because the characters change with each game, and as are the clans that are represented. So if you're familiar with Vampire: The Masquerade, you know there are many clans, and they're all different. I just want to make sure to get my mic turned up here, and but with this one, it's a whole new set of characters, so you wouldn't have had to. And even me, I wouldn't have had to have played the other games to get this one. It's all interwoven stories. And having switched to Windows 11, I can't find a lot of stuff anymore. It's like, where's my volume controls? There we go. Ah, there it is. There we go. I think the word that's better now. But I will be here with you at least for the next couple of hours. I'm gonna probably cut out a little early because we have our meeting this evening with the crew. But I will be here at least for the next couple hours. Hey, Crimson. Let me switch back, and then we'll just jump right on into this. All right. You can see in here? Sweet. Thank you. We can only play Callie. She's a Ravnos. We'd have to finish her story to get to his story. So, and I don't know who he is. But yeah, it's gonna be kind of cool to see. All the different main characters have been just really cool and have some pretty intense stories. And the story will change depending on your decisions. So I do like that. Draw Distance is the developer on the game, and a lot of their games are exactly like that, where your decisions have consequences in the story. And I that's something that I really like in a story game, where some games it doesn't matter what you do, the story is going to be the same. And I like in their games that that's not the case. If you mess up, you mess up. All right, so it says, Callie is a Ravnos. My sire's gone AWOL, and I've got no clue why. It sucks, but hey, I'm a Raven. When things get dicey, I go with my gut. And right now, it's telling me to just keep searching. It hasn't let me down so far, and it won't start now, right? Let's hope not. We do get to pick like points in their powers. Right now we have 2 available points to spend. And they do explain what the different powers are for. So animalism allows kindred to communicate with, control, or feed more efficiently on animals. Oh, so we are animal eaters. I like that. I want to make sure something's on here. Sorry. Okay. I had to make sure there was a setting that was right. Okay. Obfuscate allows kindred to hide easily, move without being noticed, and divert the eyes of observers. And their presence is the ability to influence emotions in others to attract or to terrify. I'm thinking we're gonna want to be a little more stealthy and be able to feed more efficiently. Yeah, stealth rules. Especially when you're a vampire. Submit. Let's see. I like a challenge. We'll keep the hunger on. A hunter threat. Ooh, that's new. Okay. Gosh, we gotta deal with hunters? Oh, that'll be fun. Night 1, the beginning. Oh, thank you. I forgot. I can post one up here on Insta while I'm getting things set up over here. Whoop, nope. Nope. Discard. There we go. Nice. Nice. We'll bring the people to the yard. No. When you're so used to, promoting your own stuff and you're like typing in your own channel, it's like, wait. Like, I can't do that. That's not where I'm at right now. Is the game volume kind of low? I could turn it up if it is. Sounds fine. Okay, cool. Coolio and the gang. With doing these streams, I actually am kind of trying to get used to streaming solo again, because I don't usually. Yeah, it's like, before we get too much into it, I guess some intro is good. On Wednesdays, I generally will play Choices on my channel. It is a visual novel app. and I'll do voices along with my husband, Jingo the Fool. And then on Friday nights, I stream with my friend Bitch and Cupcake, who is also a member of Real Women of Gaming. And we play all kinds of games, horror games, but usually story and multiplayer. So it's kind of what we do. And, you figure both nights of my streaming, I'm usually streaming with someone else. So now it's like I got to do this alone, which is fine. It's fun. Nice little switch up, to get used to doing the solo biz again. Thank you. Thank you, Thea. I appreciate that. She said, you got this. I'm like, yes. So night 1, we are in Brooklyn, and it says, no country for odd Ken. Thirst is on, and also we have threats of vampire hunters. So this is a completely new element for the game. We didn't have to deal with hunters in previous games, so it's kind of cool. It says, D'Angelo's bureau, if you can even call it that, feels more like a rough draft of an asteroid belt. Suggesting it's shabby almost gives it too much credit, as if there's some hidden allure to the mess, which there definitely isn't. His head is cocked thoughtfully, beady eyes piercing me right through. Does this acute interest stem from the matter I brought in, or does he simply enjoy watching me wriggling in this wretched chair? Hello, Rabbit. You're going to hear my family talking, so just to let you know. Doing good. I'd ask, but underneath the repulsive mask of his face, I noticed something that looks a lot like fear. A detail I pocket for later. A strong synthetic odor taints the still air. The world is moving forward, but this crap reeks worse than your average smoke. And the way he squashes those mini-cigs in the ashtray, it's clear D'Angelo's struggling to shake off old habits. Not that I'm one to throw stones, but he's quite the character. Useful, but infuriating too, at times. Like right now, for example. And D'Angelo says, let me get this straight. You lost your sire, eh? It's like, am I speaking in riddles? Did my words evaporate before hitting your ears? Callie says. He rolls his eyes so theatrically you'd think he's auditioning for a noir play. It's my way of cracking the case, you know. I'm here to lend you a hand, Kelly. Now come on, spill the beans, lay it all out. That's the issue. He just flaked on our meeting, and I don't know why, Kelly says. And D'Angelo, he comes in and says, Reynard Castle has a knack for vanishing, though. Maybe he had to make himself scarce, Skiptown. He'd have left me a clue for sure. You still relying on those wall tags, the hobo code or whatnot? Little Chandler here has totally been killing it lately. I mean, I might have casually mentioned the code once or twice, but nothing major. Well, alright, maybe I showed him a symbol, one that's pretty much useless on its own. If Reynard catches wind of me spilling the beans, he's gonna flip. He's like Fort Knox when it comes to our secrets. A little stuffy. Oh, hopefully you'll feel better soon. And Kelly says, we do. And I found absolutely zilch, which doesn't happen, by the way. We never bail on each other when we split up for stuff like this. It's just too dangerous. Alright, enjoy dinners. And D'Angelo says, maybe he didn't have a chance to leave a trail. Where were you supposed to rendezvous? Well, I'm thinking that if we're trying to get his help to investigate where our sire went, we probably should tell him where we were going. So I'm going to say we'll tell him. Coney Island, just a few blocks off the Wonder Wheel. He nods, utterly unsurprised, and I feel my hackles rise. You knew already! I had a hunch, but thanks for telling me either way. Maybe dropping by D'Angelo's wasn't such a great plan, or maybe he's not as useless as I assumed, but he's definitely got me on edge. I shoot him a skeptical glance, but he appears to be elsewhere, lost in his own thoughts. His lips move silently, almost like he's whispering a prayer. Do we want to know what he's whispering, maybe? Lost in his own thoughts, his lips move silently, almost like he's whispering a prayer. You know what? I'm going to ignore that. I catch myself getting exasperated. I look at D'Angelo for a while, silently willing him to say something worth listening to. So you made your way to Coney Island but came up empty-handed? No castle, no trail to follow? Anything noteworthy at all? Just your typical shady assholes loitering around, clearly up to something, pretty standard for New York as far as I'm aware. Shady assholes? Who? Kindred? Regular folks, I think, all twitchy and restless. He furrows his brow, nodding slowly, but seems more in mourning than deep in thought. When he finally speaks, it's not at all what I was expecting to hear. To be frank, Callie, I'm running short on answers. Your sire seems just temporarily unavailable. Or gone for something. Or gone for good, or something else. I can't say I'm entirely shocked. He tries to stroll around nonchalantly, but the mess in his bureau just as nonchalantly throws him off balance. It completely ruins his noir vibe, so I shoot him a cheeky grin, but he's too caught up to even notice. Breaking character must have rattled him good. If I were you, I'd take a leaf out of his book and disappear pronto. In fact, that's exactly what I intend to do once I'm through with my business in the city. I unpocket the fear I observed a moment ago and give D'Angelo another good, lasting look. He's genuinely terrified, like, seriously scared. But there's this hint of desperation, too. I've got to tame my inner con artist. She's practically salivating in my head, just wanting to join in. But when things go south, D'Angelo's the buddy you stick with, not somebody you ditch and forget. Johnny, seriously, what's up? I'm kind of freaking out here. There are too many loose ends to stitch together a complete tale, and frankly, it's too lengthy for just one night anyway. But there's a storm gathering in the city. I've been through some rough patches, but this feels like a whole different kind of trouble. Cut the cryptic shit just for once. He looks over my shoulder, lost in thought, like he's figuring out how to drop an anchor on someone who's already drowning. Our kind has been dropping like flies lately. Nobody seems to be a specific target, but it's hitting mostly Duskborn. The court dubs it the culling of thin bloods. Real knee slapper they've got, these sons of guns. But there's been other victims too. A chill runs down my dead spine. Here's the sad reality. New York has never been as dangerous for Kindred as it is these nights. And it's like, well, is it infighting or an external threat? Are the sects seriously at each other's throats that hard? Welcome, readers. Hello, Ludo Draconis VT. Thank you so much for coming in. D'Angelo says, same old song and dance, right? But this time, there's a curveball, enough to make him halt the hostilities and... You know what? I'll fill you in while we hit the road. The urge to flee slams into me like a freight train. There's something about his tone that almost convinces me to hightail it out of the city, but it's not quite time to make a break for it. I might stick around for a while, so... D'Angelo's visibly concerned. Should I be worried too? You're really not gonna let him go, huh? Course not. I'll find Reynard, come hell or high water. Now I'm wondering if that other character on the front screen was Reynard. I'm thinking it might be. Oh, I love your emote. It's cute. How you doing? Happy Saturday? Besides, someone has to handle detective duty since, judging by how desperately you want me to drive you out of town, damsel in distress is already taken. D'Angelo tilts his head downward, just enough to fix his crooked smile, a smile abandoned by joy long ago. Oh, nice. Work stuff or fun stuff? If you can talk about it. I know you well enough to not even bother trying to change your mind, but you have a knack for diving headfirst into trouble, so hear me out. Keep your head down, stay off the radar, don't feed willy-nilly, and above all, don't reveal your true nature unless you're 100% sure nobody can see you. So, the masquerade, basically. I'm not joking, Callie. Keep low or else. Yeah, thanks for the tip. I rise to my feet and wave goodbye as I head out the door. I'll grab you once I've found Reynard, on my own, since you've been such a big help. So it looks like we're out on the road now. It takes me a while to actually notice the air around me, crisp and clear without the ever-present stench of D'Angelo's nicotine habit. I find it's taking me longer each time to catch on. When will I reach the point where I don't notice it anymore? Reynard's silence and the total lack of hints about his whereabouts bug me way more than I'm ready to say out loud. The streets are deserted. It's like everyone vanished, scared off by the winter chill that mortals seem to hate. The darkness of the night, lit up by bursts of color, is kind of beautiful in a bleak urban way. But my sire is gone, and I don't know what to do. But at D'Angelo's, I was all talk, swearing that I'd track down Reynard myself or burn up trying. Pretty sure he saw right through my BS. Were I half as confident as I pretended, I wouldn't feel so utterly lost. In late December, and the big fucking dangerous apple of all places? If D'Angelo's warnings have any weight, maybe it's time to bulk up our supplies. Our coterie? Let's just say we're big on being ready for anything. Reynard's the mastermind behind all our safety nets, making sure we don't even brush close to failure. His obsessive preparedness has pulled us out of the fire more than once. Wherever we're running our gigs, we've got these spots stocked up with goods, and let's call it personal protection. One of those hidden caches lies just around the block, if I remember right. So I'm doing all this stuff, and it's done cold. I've never seen any of this stuff. So the reading on it is going to be a little weird sometimes. It's been ages, but that's probably the first place I should hit up before I go hunting for Reynard. Better safe than a grave, right? Okay, so one of the things when we're going in during the night is we have to pick the areas that we're going to check out. So right now we have the options of traveling to an isolated parking lot, going to Coney, which is where we were going to meet our maker, or sire rather, and taking precautionary measures, probably going to grab some supplies. I don't know. Supplies do sound like a good idea. So, Callie says, great, just fucking great. Looking over the wreckage of what used to be my secret stash, I can't stop the flood of swears. Whoever the hell found it, they cleared it out completely. They didn't even have the courtesy to leave a "my bad" for the raid note. It wasn't a treasure trove or anything. Just an old combat knife, a bulletless revolver, and some jewelry I was planning to pawn off for less than what they're worth. I get why they take that stuff, but seriously, what's anyone gonna do with a cooler full of expired blood bags? Could this have been the work of one of our kind? After what D'Angelo said, it doesn't seem too far-fetched. Fuck! Whoever they are, they better hope I don't find them first. Well, well, at least we know there was nothing there. It would have been like worse to do all the other stuff and then come back and find out there was stuff we could have used. Stepping back onto the streets, the harsh reality hits me. My gear is history, and no amount of complaining is going to magically bring it back. Believe me, I tried. But then again, maybe I'm just being paranoid. D'Angelo has a thing for urban legends and slapping conspiracy theories onto pretty much anything. Why should this time be any different? It's Christmas after all. Around these parts, looting is practically a holiday tradition. As I'm coming to terms with my situation and thinking about what to do next, I get that weird feeling, like my inner alarm system is giving me a nudge telling me something's off. A quick look around behind me confirms it. Yep, I've got followers, and not just one, but two. Finally, I'm hitting my social media milestones. My gut tells me to move faster, and I find myself darting into a barely lit alleyway, disappearing into the shadows, and I press myself against the cold bricks and wait. That's when I catch it, a high-pitched voice filled with endless babble. Her words cut through the ear, harsh and acidic. She's talking about me, and it's far from flattering. Squeaker. What kind of voice for this gal? It was her. The freak draped in all that drab gray. I effing told ya. Drab gray? Who the hell does she think she is? I need to get a look at them. Girl, we come back empty-handed for the third time and we're fucking cooked. Oh, fuck her and her cheap-ass forest ranger getup. The nerve to diss my look. Why are they even after me anyway? The one making all the noise is fidgeting non-stop, like a squirrel high on candy, muttering something I can't make out. It's clear planning impromptu actions isn't her strong suit. The other one seems timid, obviously wishing she was anywhere but here. I'd find the whole scene hilarious under different circumstances, but I've got bigger fish to fry than this low-budget permanent midnight remake. Ooh. You know what? We're gonna... I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about scaring them, but I'm thinking we'll just wait a little bit. I'm gonna wait and see what they do. Still, she might let something slip that's actually worth hearing. If hanging around Reynard has taught me anything, it's that there's no such thing as useless intel. The loud one suddenly steps in front of her buddy, shoving her aside pretty harshly. Go look around the corner. I'll check things out here. That bitch's gotta be somewhere nearby. Buzz me on the radio if anything pops up. With a noticeable lack of enthusiasm, the other girl drags herself away, letting out a sigh of relief, clearly glad to dodge this mess, even if just for a bit. The moment she's out of sight, the loudmouth digs into her pocket, and after a moment of fumbling takes a loud snort of something. Well, that sheds some light on her jitteriness. Too bad she's now blocking my only way out of this alley. But, from what I can tell, no one's watching. Oh! We're gonna feed on her? Ooh. No one's watching, so... Lost in the fog of her own mind, she doesn't see me coming. I pounce, locking her in a firm grip, yet she barely tries to escape. You were looking for me? Well, here I am. The moment I bite into her, it's like being struck by a thunderbolt of sheer ecstasy. The cocaine-spiked essence in her blood sends waves of frenzied joy through me. I'm surfing the high of her intoxication, rediscovering a thrill I haven't felt in years. The sensation hits me instantly, like a tsunami flooding my senses, her wild, narcotic-charged life force blending with the primal hunger that defines my very being. I'm consuming more than just her blood. I'm feasting on her fears, her regrets, her hatred for me, engulfed in the storm of her most vivid experiences, a bond so profound that it feels almost sacrilegious. As the buzz wears off and I come back down, she crumples softly to the ground, still disoriented from our encounter. I hide her behind some trash cans, blending her into the scenery. Fingers crossed, yet another junkie snoozing in the streets won't alert anyone. Damn! It turns out D'Angelo wasn't just blowing smoke up my ass. But I've got places to be, things to handle, and I just hope this doesn't eat up too much time. Finding Reynard remains a top priority. I could go back to Coney Island and see if he turned up while I was gone. The possibility of berating him for thoughtlessness cracks me up, if only a little. And yeah, I've got to move the RV before it draws too much attention, before some busybody develops an unwanted interest in it. But there's no point in driving it to Coney Island when I can take the subway, so what to do first? Let's see. Okay, we're doing great for time. Square one the RV. Okay, so these are our only two options, so we'll go to the RV. If anything happens to our stash, Reynard's going to skin me when he shows up. I happen to like my skin. Have had it for as long as I can remember. Plus, it's not like he's facing his final death or anything, I think. New York really lives up to its rep as the city that never sleeps. People will keep walking past, oblivious to the intensity of my gaze. The blood slowly coursing through their veins just beneath the surface of their skin tempts me in ways I cannot describe. I force myself to look away, not for the dregs of my own mortality, nor because I feel any grand respect for them. It's simpler than that. Too many eyes. Too much risk. My crew's unspoken credo. As I approach the ruined parking lot where I've stashed my RV, I freeze. Shit! There's already a crowd milling around. 3 of them! Maybe mortal, but kindred or ghouls are much more likely. 'Cause what random thieves suddenly got their hands itchy for an RV as old as mine? No, they must be Camarilla types given where we are. I could feel my viscera starting to boil, but I play it cool. What's their interest in my RV? How'd they even find it? And more importantly, how do I get them to leave? Ooh. So our two options are I'll give them something to chase, or now they hear me. And I'm kind of thinking sneaky is better. Shakes fist. Get off my lawn, Crimson says. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like, like, do I just tell him, like, like, what are you doing here? Get out, You know what? Let's switch it up. I'm going to do this. The chemistry. I gesture subtly toward the far end of the lot and conjure up the loud, discordant sound of a garbage bin falling over, coupled with muffled curses and retreating steps. With luck, the prowlers will take the bait. And they do. They carelessly drop whatever they were holding, and one by one cock their heads and prowl toward the source of the sound, moving away from my spot. This is my moment. I sneak over to my van only to see it's been completely ransacked. They've wrecked it, digging through hidden compartments, flipping through confidential documents that won't reveal anything to them, spilling my meticulously stored blood, and tossing my sparse furnishings onto the pavement. My home! Violated! Ruined! Done! Barely containing my wrath simmering just under my cold, undead skin, I force myself to calm down. I'll sneak into the driver's seat before my illusion fades away. Speeding off right under their noses is bold. Maybe even a bit stupid, but, well, I follow my gut like I always do. It rarely fails me, but when it does, oh boy. I mean, I'm Ravnos, right? The first idea that pops into my head is typically the winner. Just as I'm about to make my move toward the RV, I spot her. Actually, scratch that. It's my skin that reacts first. Every hair standing on end as if electrocuted. An alarm blares in my head, screaming danger. Only then do I see her stepping smoothly out of the shadows, gait relaxed and somehow predatory. Leaving so soon, sugar? I have no idea who she is, and I'm normally spot on in identifying those who'd prefer me finally dead. It's handy in my line of business. Yep, duty calls, and by duty I mean you can fuck right off. She doesn't even blink at my quip, and just keeps inching closer. I feel an urge to step back, but a quick side-eye informs me that the Prowlers have returned and are standing right behind me. Oh no. Crimson says, I love her. I know, Callie's pretty cool right now. Hopefully we get out of this, because, I don't know. I'm afraid you're gonna have to come with me. Let's see, our options are don't tell me what to do. Am I a criminal now? I was raised better than that. Yeah, it's like, we're not gonna run around with strangers. Sorry, no can do, sugar. Dad always said not to go off with strangers. Her smile stretches wider, but it's devoid of any real humor or warmth. She's only steps away now, and I'm effectively trapped. Well, this stranger isn't giving you too many options, doll. I'm Valerie Duvall, the Scourge of New York. The council issued an arrest warrant in your name since they've taken interest in your unusual endeavors. With those recent business meetings, you've left a trail of breadcrumbs too scrumptious not to follow. The fuck? We barely had time to look around New York, let alone meet up with anyone. And Valerie says, now, you can either accompany me without a fuss, or, well, let's just leave it at the first option. It's decidedly in your best interest. She gestures to one of the Prowlers behind me, her henchman, I guess, who brandishes a hefty, sharpened stake. My throat tightens involuntarily. What the fuck does the council want with me? Our crew's business isn't all that against their precious traditions, is it? I'm not without reason, darling. Your move? God, she's annoying. You have the wrong person. Honestly, you've got the wrong person. Unless you're talking about a parole violation in which, hey, I've been guilty of that way back when. I'm seriously just here by chance. So if we could just... The tip of the stake jabs painfully against my back, right where my heart would be beating madly if it wasn't all shriveled up. Shit. Last chance. All right, Jesus. I'll fucking go with you. Valerie tosses me a so-called smile, the sort that could turn the sun into ice. Good girl. Now, come. The council is waiting. Well, maybe we should have went to Coney Island first. We're going to find out what's going to happen here. We're headed to Queens. And I need some more water. So this is their joint, the art hole? Ha! Ha! That actually is a place that came up in previous games. That's funny. Seriously, could they have picked a more pretentious spot? The ivory tower splinter has wedged itself right in the middle of New York City's swankiest row. Welcome to the still heart of the Camarilla's intricate machinations. Here's where the local kindred clink their glasses, all the while plotting each other's demise. Unless, of course, you're a pariah like me, an outcast from a wrong clan with a knack for stirring up trouble, in which case you're screwed from the get-go. Honestly, I preferred not knowing how posh it is. Places like this don't exactly roll out the red carpet for someone who deals with my kind of stuff, but since I've got no immediate escape plans, might as well play along. I'd happily shit on it on principle, but gotta admit, it seems pretty low-key on the outside. Not counting the two chuckling goons who clearly missed the memo on blending with the crowd. And on that note, Valerie says, is there a giggle-worthy revelation you'd care to share with me, Bertie? Your demeanor hints at a job well done, does it not? The awkward freeze frame those two are stuck in would be comedy gold if I wasn't knee-deep in my own mess. And Hound says, yeah, Miss Duvall, sir. I mean, not anything too wild, you know. Just like the usual stuff we're seeing, I guess. Does this usual stuff include dubious characters within a mile's reach of Elysium? Groups for which you were specifically instructed to watch out. 3 of them to be exact, if my account holds true. 3 groups of what? Honestly, I didn't spot a thing. Then again, maybe I'm just not clued in on what to look out for. Let her cook. Let's just do that. I mean, I apologize. We really should have. Yes, you really should have. Boy, that shot through him like an icy bullet. I wasn't exactly cozy myself, but that poor sod probably just shed the last ounce of warmth left in him. Return to your duties at once. I'll be expecting a detailed report within the next hour. Yes, Miss Duvall, sir. He waddles off like a scolded kid and his pal refuses to meet our eyes. I throw Valerie a look of unwilling respect. She obviously holds some serious clout in these parts. Come now. Dragging your feet earns you no favors, and believe me, you could use a few. Is that an offer, Ms. Duvall? Her smile serves as enough of a silent veto to make it clear that prying any further is futile. Not exactly a good sign. She swings the door open, but there's no warm invitation in the gesture. The place doesn't quite live up to the posh art gallery image in my mind. Sure, there's a hint of what could be Basquiat on the walls, but most of the art is either shoved aside or covered up. My instincts shift into overdrive. First up, a quick room survey. So we can search for escape routes, scan for access points, or just take a good look around. I don't think escape is going to be very easy, so I'll just scan the access points. No exposed fuse boxes, no signs of optical fiber installations, frankly, not a trace of any civilized tech in sight. That's the thing with these old school meets modernity buildings. It just doesn't sit right with me, but of course it's exactly the Camarilla style. Step 2 practically unfolds on its own. The room's a powder keg of kindred in the middle of an intense debate. The tension is palpable, suspicion dialed up to 11. And that's when their voices finally break through the walls of my focus. Oh, they brought him back! He was, if this is who I think it is, he was the sheriff in the first game. Wouldn't have been such an issue if we had taken action when the signs were so glaringly obvious. Yes, it is him! That long-haired hunk must be Kadir al-Azmai, the Camarilla's sheriff. I've had my fill of stories about him, but now I could put a face to the reputation. Yeah, he's He's a great character. Oh, wow. Okay, so yeah, so these are characters from the first game, all part of the council. If only the rest of us were blessed with your profound gift of foresight, Sheriff, life would be a walk in the park. Allow me to emphasize our risks aren't limited to a single front. Acting on a gut feeling might work wonders in motion pictures. Here, in the real world, it's a different story. This one's a mystery to me, but the way he's navigating the conversation, he's clearly a heavyweight in these parts. And Kadir says, spare me the pretense of ignorance, Arturo. The pattern was unmistakable well over a month ago now. Arturo? Thomas Arturo? Shit! Reynard explicitly told me to steer clear of this guy's mess. Oh yeah, big mess. Doesn't look like they're gonna give you the backstory on that one, but yeah. The bickering rages on, and Valerie doesn't seem eager to reveal her catch, aka yours truly. Your playful decision to allow the Thinbloods to appoint Larson as their primogen raises his final death to a level that can't be casually swept under the rug, Helene. Thin-blooded or not, it throws into question our grip on the situation. If I remember right, she is... Oh, man. I know she's a primogen, but I don't remember what... Yeah, Regent. Yeah, Tremere. Yeah. I played Tremere in another game, in a game that we were playing before with friends. Yeah. That goth out Ally McBeal? Definitely Aisling Sturbridge, the Tremere Regent. I've been curious if Reynard's operation extends into the local chantry, but he was, as always, tight-lipped about his private affairs. Yeah, so the kind of like the basics that they're giving about who these people are really is kind of all we need to know right now about them. These characters all appeared in Coteries of New York, the first game. Because this is the third in their trilogy. What would you have me do then? Unleash our dear sheriff without adequate reconnaissance? Just in the name of haste, we can't overlook his excessive efficacy in the last skirmish, can we? Doesn't the prospect of a masquerade breach give you pause? Behold the queen bee herself, Helene Pennard, the reigning prince of sticks up the ass. Yeah, she is the Prince of New York. That's great. Yeah, she is stuffy. Ooh, he's new. I've never seen him before. I figure we're all fond of keeping things the way they are. But there's times to just sit back and think, and then there's times when you gotta step up and do something bold. This feels like it's time to make a move. Thomas Arturo says, an anarch championing chaos, a revelation that somehow fails to astonish our esteemed Baron of the Bronx. An anarch baron inside Elysium? Now that's a plot twist. What's the deal here? As I continue to look around, another figure catches my eye. A young-looking woman, entirely decked out in black, casually playing with a cigarette. Oh! Wow. Okay. So she's another one of the characters from the second game. I didn't know that all these folks were going to show back up. Yeah, I like our main character. She's pretty cool. Callie is awesome. But she doesn't say anything. She shoots me a brief glance, clearly picking up on my curiosity. Ooh, who's this guy? Humph. Who is that? Somebody's got to tell me who that is. That ancient fart in the wheelchair, whispering to his servant. Who's that? Right. He's about to chime in. Some lanky guy I totally missed till now decides to butt in. Oh, this is the other guy. Okay. So this is the other main character. My apologies for interrupting, Mr. Payne, but as it appears Miss Duval has brought forth the issue you mentioned earlier. It might be wise to ensure she is not exposed to unnecessary information. How did I overlook this guy? He's all limbs and quirks, playing with some odd ring on his finger. He sticks out in this upscale bunch like a sore thumb. Is my mojo on vacation or something? Or what? Yes, thank you for that shrewd observation, Caitiff. She hurls those words like she's spitting venom. Whatever the opposite of sympathy is, she's brimming with it. Wait, Caitiff? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Esteemed council, I give you the troublesome Ravnos neonate. I gather you all desire a swift resolution to this matter, especially given her reluctance to cooperate. As if on cue, every eye shifts to me. Yeah, not surprising. I'm not one to buckle under stage fright, but this silent ostracism is on a whole new level. In this room, I'm on my own. I understand the formal necessity of addressing all this, as well as my role in the matter. However, there are more pressing concerns demanding attention, far more pressing. Shall we discard all traditions, too, while we're at it? We've pirouetted around the Hudson problem for more than a year, yet progress remains as stale as our debate. Certainly, a few additional moments to honor the very laws you spearhead so vigorously couldn't hurt, could they? The Hudson is a completely different beast, as you're well aware. We need to address the locust swarm engulfing New York before Camarilla's entire framework crumbles beneath its weight. And how does that sit with you, Payne? Just last night, 2 Duskborn and a fledgling from your clan were reduced to ashes, and we're still in the dark about who's pulling the strings. Shouldn't that worry you more than policing the purity of the red market? And, and all the old man can manage is a The old guy's servant steps forward, all awkward and rigid. In principle, I agree, Sheriff. However, should we continue to disregard even minor infractions, we broadcast a message of vulnerability. Vulnerability threatens our efforts within and beyond our borders. Efforts we plan to carry on without interruption once the locust swarm, as you've termed it, is eradicated. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm inclined to agree with Gramps on this one. We can't simply let something like that slip through the cracks without taking proper measures. And Aisling says, So you've assumed the role of his advocate now. Quite the bold descent up the ladder of your own making, Julia. What's next on the horizon? Another hostile... Enough. Enough already. An awkward silence falls over the room because the prince told everybody basically to shut up. But it seems more about customs than actual respect. Guess we're all just creatures of habit, undead or alive. The sheer theatrics of the situation give me a moment to sneak a glance at. I'm going to look at the sheriff because he's pleasant to look at. The sheriff's avoiding eye contact with me, which you typically read as a weakness, but it's far from that. In fact, he's ice cold and focused. His gaze meeting mine might be the last thing I see before bidding farewell to my undead existence. True, because he has he's pretty dangerous. But there's something deeper. He appears untamed, like a wolf in an ambush, perfectly still, yet poised to tear into anyone foolish enough to trigger his fury. When the prince finally manages to speak, her voice lacks the confidence you'd anticipate from someone at the helm. One moment. We're all here for the same reason you are, Aisling. Or am I mistaken and you forget where your loyalties lie? Even now, as she turns to me, her presence is weighed down. Not that I care. My head's on the chopping block, and she's the one calling the shots or on whether it stays put or rolls off. Now, let's put this issue to rest here and now. Strive for brevity, Sheriff. Understood. The weight of his gaze is enough for me to lower my shoulders. Whatever comes, it's not gonna be pretty. Callie of Clan Ravnos, you stand accused of violating the New York Camarilla's praxis, infringing on the tradition of hospitality and endangering the masquerade, among other things. Well, shit. Wait, on what grounds? Drop the act. There's a wealth of evidence in that recreational vehicle of yours, most of it confirming the suspicions we have been harboring over the recent months. Petty theft from our subjects, impersonation of other kindred, lineage forgery, need I go on? Okay, guilty, but when did they start caring? It's not like I'm the only one dipping my toes into the ocean of misdemeanors. And at least they don't know about our artifact gig. But your involvement in large-scale blood and mortal trafficking outside our scrutiny and the jurisdiction of the circulatory system is as obvious as it is dangerous to the stability of our domain. Large-scale my ass. We hardly move anything through New York, definitely not enough to impact their operations. Plus, we're super careful. Especially with your clientele often being in direct hostility to our interests, as Primogen Payne was kind enough to confirm. Seriously, this can't be right. We always check out our clients. Well, Raynor does, but is this some twisted way to set an example? Are they playing the undead IRS? What is their game, really? While some might chalk this up to colossal stupidity, I'm neither so forgiving nor tolerant of fraudsters who respect nothing but their own gain. I am not blind to the fact that Raynard's completely MIA in this whole story. He's the big cheese, the head honcho of the entire affair, though calling it an affair might be giving it too much credit. So why are they making it out like I'm the mastermind behind some global crime syndicate? This is not the time to be quiet, Raven. You know what? Fuck 'em. I'm not going down without a fight. La 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 la. Yeah, Crimson says, I don't make mastermind money, bitches. Yeah, exactly. Like, no, she doesn't know stuff like that. Merely just a chauffeur? I don't think so. But I'm going to say, I'm not your scapegoat. Obviously, you found something. How could you not when you're the one who planted it there to begin with? Careful, Icarus. I've watched The Exonerated. I know the drill. Look, I get you need someone to pin this on, but you've got the wrong... Out of nowhere, something pierces my mind, shredding its defenses to dust. It's like my head's been turned inside out, exposing my every thought for their amusement. I whip my head toward the source of this eerie sensation, and boom, there's Kadir. The freaking sheriff with those piercing eyes slicing through my layers of BS like it's cake. I earnestly hope you are not taking me for a fool. That would be a misstep of monumental proportions, unlike anything these walls have witnessed. I get a glimpse of Aisling out of the corner of my eye, silently mouthing words that look suspiciously like, I beg to differ. Right then, a curved sword appears in Kadir's hand. Yeah, that's his weapon of choice. As though he's just pulled it straight from thin air. Or maybe I'm just going nuts. Honestly, I'd be totally shitting my pants right now if that part of me wasn't offline. I'm not here for your games, little Raven. Choose your next words carefully. Thomas Arturo comes back in and says, I'd argue this utter lunacy clears her of charges. She couldn't even cobble together a feeble story, much less orchestrate clandestine trading of this magnitude. The yarn spinning is supposed to be your clan's forte, isn't it? Last chance, my dear. Is there anything of substance you wish to add? The prince asks. Holy shit! This can't be really happening, right? What's my move? What would Reynard do? Reynard, if he had the decency to pop up or at least toss me a fucking heads up, I wouldn't be knee deep in this disaster. Is he really in trouble, or what if he bailed on me? Got a hint that the Camarilla was breathing down his neck and decided I'm the perfect scapegoat. Crimson says, you may be hot, but that's a bitch move. I know. Yes. Nah, that doesn't sound like him. But why target me and not Reynard? Sure, he's gone now, but could they really be that clueless about him? I'm totally lost, but I do know what he would probably do. His move would be to look out for number one, spill the beans more than necessary to buy some time. Time is gold, and with enough of it, maybe there's a chance to wiggle out of this mess. It's all or nothing now. Hit the jackpot or end up porcupined with stakes. Well, I guess there's not much point in playing dumb, huh? I couldn't agree more. Game on, Kelly's thinking. All right, then. So I indeed am tangled up in this little blood trafficking operation, playing a pretty crucial part if I do say so myself. Though I guess not everyone's on board with that assessment. I do the logistics, pushing merchandise through the series of dark web channels. Every eyebrow in the room goes up, except for the cigarette aficionado in the back, who lets out a slight smirk. I mean, a little controlled drama never hurts in a short con. All totally secure and anonymous. No slips about, our thing. Everything masked by the hustle of more mundane black markets. No way we're blowing the masquerade. We deal in stored blood, and as you might have caught on, not just any blood, though. Our merch is a little jazzed up, thaumaturgically enhanced, to be exact. It's the only way they'd work, as you're well aware. I am, but that's not for you to find out, Kelly's thinking. Right, of course. Oh, and we also deal in, let's just call them family treasures. But honestly, that's more like a side gig than anything serious. But we're extremely careful about picking our clients and really thorough when it comes to making deals. The traditions and all. I was sure we'd never even come close to breaking them. At least, that's what he led me to believe. I had a hunch there were some dodgy dealings in his more secret ventures, but to deny that would be a flat-out lie. But let's be real, I'm way outside the inner circle to have a real sway in those parts of his enterprise. For a brief moment, an uneasy silence sweeps over the room. His enterprise? Is this a joke? Exactly who is this he you're referring to? I'd give it my all to appear as blameless as possible. And Kelly says, I presumed you knew it was my sire who's masterminding it all. The room's heavy silence is soon filled with hushed whispers following my revelation. Good. If fortune is on my side, I might just live to see another moonrise. Indeed, how fortuitous. And your sire would be? And Kadir says, there's only one other notable rogue in the city who comes to mind. Someone dipping in and out, known for their shifty nature, of which I was somewhat aware. Reynard Castle. You nailed it, Chief! Sir? Another brief moment of silence gets interrupted by the girl in black who addresses the sheriff. Julia. I could practically hear the cogs turning in your head, Kadir. What's your take on it? Truth be told, it does add up, though I had him pegged more as a con artist than a trafficker. And Payne's servant says, well then, why hasn't he been apprehended yet, Sheriff? Are you secretly endorsing activities that impede the circulatory system's operations? For your own good, Payne, I'll pretend I didn't catch that. Or would you care to question my dedication to our cause again? Be warned, my patience wears extremely thin these nights. Can we put this bickering on hold, at least for a moment? The prince says. An opportunity staring me in the face. How could I resist squeezing myself right into it? And Callie says, one more thing. Raynard and I had a meeting lined up with a client a few hours back, but he never showed up. In the whole year and a half I've been in this gig, he's never just vanished like this. And what do you make of it? Now with the floodgates of truth open wide, truth wide open, it's time to dive into the art of lying my ass off. To be honest, I'm not sure, but now that I think of it, he's changed over the past month, become a lot more erratic than usual. Ready for my theory? I'm pretty sure he caught wind of your lot and decided to feed me to the flames while he made a run for it. Whether they're swallowing my story or they're just tired of my presence, it feels like I'm nudging things the way I want them. Not everyone's convinced, though. An unwitting pawn betrayed by her master. It's a likely story, suitable for the stage indeed. But in this context, if I may... Damn it, Padraic, don't go getting yourself into... Baron's warning arrives a bit too late. Instantly, the others shift their focus, fixing their eyes on the caitiff with unmistakable hostility, and it's clear they're not exactly fond of him. Since you've already disrupted the proceedings, you might as well say your piece, mediator. Very well then. I am inclined to believe her, at least in the aspects most significant to the inherent interest of our allies. Thanks, you mysterious weirdo. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's just best to, act like you don't know anything. Then, when people ask, if you really don't know anything, so then when people ask, you can say, I don't know, and it's the truth. As ever, your assertion remains devoid of substance. My guy's advice is pretty much always on point. His track record speaks for itself, Baron Torque says. Padraic says, the sheriff has a point that seems to hold water. Her sire might just be the one at fault. She is essentially a non-entity, is she not? A nobody that slipped under the radar until by a stroke of sheer bad luck, she got caught red-handed. Do excuse the pun. When you give it another look, the evidence you have collected should indeed back up that claim quite convincingly. And what grounds your intricate evaluation precisely? My judgment is shaped by your vast experience and simply tempered by reasoning and intuition. It changes little regarding the consequences she must face for her complicity in her siren's crimes. It's do or die. How about I serve you Raynard's head on a silver platter in exchange for mine, unscathed on my shoulders? Kadir's stare pins me under silent disapproval, but he lets me, as the curly-haired asshole put it, spin my yarn. I know all his secret spots in this town, plus the spots he wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. I'm wired into his network, his contacts. I've got his playbook down, and I could stay one step ahead of him with ease. Just give me a chance, and we all will be thanking our lucky stars by the end. They slip into a quiet introspection, or maybe they're just playing a round of mental chess, trying to read each other's minds without uttering a word. And Aisling says, I have reservations about this daring proposition. Consider the potential fallout if this entire situation spirals out of control. Kadir throws up his hand, clearly over dealing with my case. Capturing this whelp proved hardly a challenge. I wouldn't sweat the idea of catching her again. What's more, entrusting her with Castle resolves two issues at once. It swiftly eliminates her presence and enables us to prioritize genuine concerns. But someone has to be a constant watch over her, or has to keep a constant watch over her. Valerie, perhaps one of yours? A batshit crazy idea burst into my mind. The kind of a gamble that could either turn out brilliantly or spectacularly implode. Let the dice roll. And actually, I just want to take just a short break here since it's a little over an hour and I need some more water. So I will be right back, you guys. Alrighty, I'm back. What's up? Welcome to the Real Women in Gaming channel. I'm Martian Cat. And we are playing Vampire the Masquerade Reckoning of New York. Right now we are in the Elysium. Callie, our main character, is being questioned by the Prince and the Council of New York. So, over crimes that doesn't seem like, I mean, it seems like she's committed some of these crimes, but I don't think she's the mastermind. I think her sire was the mastermind. Maybe not. Considering he's gone, he might have been taken by the real power, whoever that is, So we don't really know exactly what's going on just yet. We do know that they were trafficking in blood. We know that. But not much else, so. I got another bottle of water, because voicing, reading character voices and stuff is, it's a lot. So 2 seconds, and then we'll just jump back into this. Callie said she had a crazy idea as to how to handle this situation right now, so that's where we're at. And Callie says, well, how about him? Oh, the guy you don't know. I jab my finger towards the quiet caitiff. Padraic, was it? His expression shifts to one of utter confusion as he catches the subtle smirks of the council members. Surely you're not considering. This could play out quite favorably, I must admit. Quite favorably indeed, Kadir says. Holy shit, it actually worked! Very well, Padraic Conroy, I hereby appoint you as the agent caretaker for this Ravnos neonate. I hate to break it to you, Sheriff, but this call is out of your turf. He's with us Anarchs, and you know it well enough. And Julia says, technically, when he took on the whole peacemaker role for our cliques, he acquired a level of neutrality, so yeah. Kadir redirects his gaze to the caitiff. Your responsibility is to ensure she fulfills the assignment within 4 nights starting now. Any slip-ups on her end will reflect on your record as well. Do we have an understanding? 4 nights? Not a whole lot, but better than nothing. Padraic's resigned nod mirrors exactly how I feel. Now, back to where we were. Their sudden disinterest in me is a clear get-out-of-here signal. Seems like I've managed to slide from one pit to another, but hey, I've bought myself a little time, and in my world, that's precious currency. Mm. 2 seconds. There we go. Had the wrong scene up. Unless, of course, that caitiff turns out to be a wild card. So night 1 continues. We're on the main quest. And sometimes side quests will pop up in the game. And then you have, obviously, they're side quests, so you have the option to do them or not. Those can sometimes be fun, and they can also help your stats to do them. This one says, up in the air. I've bought myself some time to find Reynard and scram out of the city before the Camarilla catches on. The only trouble is this caitiff tick clinging to my back, which honestly is kind of my own fault. I need to figure out how to shake him off. check something here. I'm hoping we can get through at least night 1 before I have to bounce here. We might not need air to nourish our Vishya, but I still let out a sigh of relief when the doors to Elysium slammed shut behind us. Talk about a crew of entitled assholes holed up in their ivory tower, sneering at Kindred, just scraping by to make dead ends meet. To make dead ends meet, that's great. I hope they get a nice sharp stake to the foot. But hey, it's all good. My golden words and silver tongue managed to buy me some time to find Reynard and get the hell out of Dodge before those clowns catch on that we've already hit the West Coast. And the only hiccup for now is Padraic. He says, keep making that face at me and it might just stick that way. Shut your eyes and trust me then. Then maybe it's time you shut your eyes, pal, and let me navigate us to our destination. Just give it a 10 count before peeping. I would rather we didn't. He pauses mid-sentence. Actually, on second thought, that might just top the chart of as the worst suggestion I've been privy to tonight. And believe me, it has some heavy competition. Don't worry, there's more to come, and I haven't played my final card yet. Stay optimistic. I whirl around in his exasperated high sigh, chasing after me. Be what may, I whirl around his exasperated sigh, chasing after me. Be what may, this caitiff tick's gotta go. Look, the sun is about to rise, and we could pick up this little dance of ours again tomorrow night, okay? Let's get moving. My haven isn't even in this part of town. Hold up. What do you mean, your haven? Alright, hear me out. I get that this whole thing is a bit of a pain for both of us. Trust me, I have no more desire to mind you than you have to be minded. But let's rewind for a second. You were the one who picked me out at Elysium and got us both into this mess. If I let you out of my sight, things will get proper unpleasant for me, and believe me, I'm speaking from experience. But you will be torn to shreds by Kadir's hounds before you could say, oops. They'll sniff you out sooner rather than later. That is a stone-cold fact. So how about we skip the theatrics and you tag along to a place I know is safe, and we can regroup and figure out our next move come nightfall. He stops mid-sentence. Fingers crossed for whatever is the Kindred version of a stroke. Maybe I could slip away and get to my RV. No, your RV is completely off the table. I've got plenty other options. Not a problem. I got a solid 7 other hideouts. I know that's a lie. Oh, I'm sure you do. Though, if you haven't seen your shadow in the last 6 months, I'd wager they no longer exist. Mind sharing where they were? Hello, is this the Secret Service speaking? Like I'd spill my shit to you. Just so you know, my network is sprawling and meticulously crafted. Think global spiderweb. Sound... Exactly, right? You know she's BSing. Sounds more like you're the fly caught within, believing it's your very kingdom. Meanwhile, the fat spider at the center awaits its chance patiently. Yep, keep channeling your inner Keats. Gosh. He stays silent for a moment, likely thinking he's gained the upper hand in our verbal spar. I still count it as my win. Nevertheless, he starts yapping again soon after. In any case, we need a place to rest, and my haven is the safest choice. I'd really hate to resort to violence, but don't presume I won't drag you there if the need arises. It's your call. Every time I don't get a say, it somehow turns out to be my call. Come on, what do you think I'll do, run away? Obviously. Oh, ye of little faith, why would I try to bail on you on Christmas night? You sticking around might just count as a true holiday miracle, and no, I don't bank on holiday miracles. If you are under the impression I'll let you out of my sight, then you are not paying attention. Come, let's not dilly-dally. Dilly-dally? Did they embrace him in a Dickens novel? Talk about being charming. All right, after you. Stubborn as I am, it turns out Mr. Thin and Mean over there is just as immovable. Arguing seems futile. Time for a different approach. I toss him a thoughtful glance, noticing him leisurely fiddling with one of those ugly rings adorning every conceivable part of his hands. What a jerk! My game would eat him alive! But I can deal with him on my own just fine. All I need is a little bit of inspiration. After a quick look around, a couple schemes start to take shape. How about a magic trick? Lifting his finger might be a bit ambitious when he's so wired, but I've got other tricks up my sleeve. I fish out a ring from my belt bag, the trinket I nicked from some sucker back in Chicago. It's a piece of junk, really. No pawn shop would glance twice at it, but you never know when a useless thing might come in handy. I clear my throat awkwardly and evoke an appropriately embarrassed face. So, what I'm trying to say is, I'm sorry for getting snappy earlier. Rough night, you get it? Well, an apology isn't quite enough, but it is a start. Yeah, we got off on the wrong foot, huh? Let's start again. Name's Callie. And with that, I extend my hand. It hovers in the frigid air, waiting for his response. After a brief pause, he reaches out and shakes it. Padraic Conroy. I take this as my cue, clasping his hand warmly with both of mine, shaking with all the vigor I can muster. Nice to meet you, Padraic. Fancy seeing a magic trick? I beg your pardon? I flash him the ring with a nasty smile, watching as his face turns a shade paler. Before he has a chance to check out his own fingers, I take a big swing. Want your precious ring back? Then fetch! I hurl the ring into the distance, listening as it clinks off a wall. As the caitiff dashes off, I seize the moment and zoom away in the opposite direction, pushing my legs as fast as they'll go. I have no idea where I'm going, but solitude sounds perfect right now. Even after everything tonight, it looks like I'm on a roll. Must be that Ravnos charm working its magic. I instantly regret my choice the moment I dash into an alleyway. A dodgy crew handling crates that seem to be filled with combat gear snaps their attention toward me the moment I make my entrance, and they've seen my inhuman speed. Shit. Caleb, look! Her again? Seriously, what the hell? Once is a fluke, twice an awfully fucked up coincidence, and I've seen too much to believe in those. It's that raggedy bitch! I told you I wasn't seeing things! Not now, for fuck's sake. I've got eyes, Caleb says. Squad, to your positions. They begin to circle me, exchanging nods. It's only then I notice their tactical gear and the unmistakable outline of wooden stakes. Is this the infamous Special Affairs Division? Seriously, fuck my unlife. Raynard was spot on. I'm always too quick to pop the champagne. Back off, would you? This isn't going to end well for you. Shut your filthy gob, leech. He whips out a stake to compensate for his shaky tone. I'm not one for head-on combat, but it's way past the time for cutting. From the sides, now! They come at me all at once with an attack surprisingly uncoordinated for such a well-equipped team. That disarray is the only reason I may survive this. As a flash of heat surges through me, their movements seem to slow down. I grab the first one by the arm as he swings a knife at me, driving my nails into his armpit. Everything turns a shade of red I find disturbingly pleasant. Next, I leap and spin, taking the squeaky girl down with a kick that leaves her neck at a grotesque angle, her body crumpling to the ground. Their leader waves his stake in hesitation, searching for an opening. Bring it on, you undead whore. That didn't sound good. I don't give him the chance. In an instant, I'm at his throat, tearing and ripping. His blood washes over my skin like a hot shower. It feels comforting. As the chaos fades, there I am, perfectly unharmed amid the carnage, swept up in the rush of victory. Tonight is definitely my night. But then reality strikes, quite literally. Knocked onto my knees and suddenly dazed, I scramble to get up, and I need to get out before the caitiff catches up. As I try to rise, a kick sends me sprawling. Another thug, one that I had missed, sits on top of me, stake in hand, aimed straight at my heart. I react instantly, bucking my hips and reaching for his elbow, ready to tear and rip, but I can't. And I don't have to. Suddenly, hands encircle the thug's neck, twisting it in a complete circle reminiscent of some horror movie owl. He drops beside me, lifeless, as the caitiff casually retrieves the stake. You've lost something? Piss off! I believe thank you is the phrase you're looking for. You should be glad I fetched the ring in record time. He extends his hand with grace, and there's a part of me itching to grab it, to pull at it and literally take him down a peg. But I let the moment pass. The brawls worn me out, and dawn's creeping up on us. I refuse his help, pushing myself up with a mix of pride and fatigue. And Pedraic says, why don't you hold on to the stake? Consider it a memento of the time you nearly got taken out by a few hunters and needed my intervention. A slice of humble pie, if you will. I tuck the stake into my belt bag, feeling more awkward about it than I care to show. For the record, I had it under control, but wait, hunters? Of course, you didn't seriously think it was the sad, did you? He lets out a chuckle. The first one I've heard from him, and it feels out of place, I think. Do not take it personally, but if it were the sad you were up against, you'd have been taken out before you even realized there was a threat. They're too well organized, too professional. These guys, however, he sweeps his hand around, gesturing toward the fallen hunters. Well, they haven't quite mastered the element of surprise. Still, running into that many in one place, Kadir mentioned something about a locust swarm back at Elysium, but come on, twice in one night? That's more than just bad luck. Indeed, New York is nowhere as near as safe for our kind as it once was. This is not your typical hunter behavior. It's an anomaly, and its source is still unknown. Until we figure it out. I strongly advise against sprinting like a demented cheetah, biting whatever's within arm's reach, or showing off your unique powers. For your own safety, assume you're under constant surveillance. Choose your moments wisely. It's the second time I'm hearing this kind of warning tonight, And maybe I should actually start paying attention. And you might want to rethink your attempts to ditch me. I might not arrive in time to save you the next time you get in trouble. The next time, he seems to have me all figured out. All right, maybe sticking with you might have some benefits. Am I hearing things, or was that a compliment? Don't let it go to your head, and don't expect a repeat. Now, about that haven of yours. Let's see. Stranger in the Night, a detour. So the detour is a side quest. But we're going to keep going. Where the caitiff lies low. The sun's about to rise, and I've had more than enough for one night. All I can think is to sink into the deep, dark void of rest, and tonight, Padraic's Haven is the place to be. The walk feels endlessly long. I try to focus on the task of locating Reynard, but my thoughts just won't line up right. Definitely not a promising end to the night. Before I know it, we're already there. This is our stop. Let's head inside. Dawn is nearly upon us. He steps through the door first, but leaves it open for me. And I see it as a slight sign of trust, or maybe I'm just too exhausted to be on the lookout for tricks. He steps through the door first and leaves it open for me. I see it as a slight sign of trust, or maybe I'm just too exhausted to be on the lookout for tricks. Home sweet home. Peeking into a kindred's haven is kind of like trying to read their diary, assuming they have one, of course. Our van, which I share with my crew, might tell a story of covert operations, daring escapes, and tight-knit camaraderie for those with the flair for drama. That is, to anyone else, it could just seem like a mobile hideout for a few smugglers. Granted, I haven't exactly been a guest in many havens, but this one is particularly shouting its love affair with books and a certain, let's say, relaxed approach to tidiness, and that Padraic's probably didn't expect to have company, like ever. Every inch of it is covered in books, papers, and random notes, a wild mosaic of ideas, from the mundane to the outright unhinged. I swear, there are even scribbles on napkins in the mix. Padraic seems a little bit flustered that I caught his haven in such disarray. He rushes to clean up, picking up an armful of paper along the way. Make yourself at home. The couch is all yours. At least the windows are still open. Windows, all still open, have been secured with steel shutters. All in all, the place feels rather cozy. A pretty decent haven, I think. Just a tad too lonely for my tastes. Check out his book collection. Among the clutter, a vast collection of James Joyce stands out, surrounded by other books that feel more like homework than leisure reading. Padraic's choice in literature, definitely on the non-fun side, or the no-fun side. The stack of papers he's clutching is kept under wraps, and impossible to read, but the ones littering the rest of the space, they're up for grabs. I stretch my neck to get a closer look, ditching any attempt to be sneaky, only to find some disjointed snippets about history, voices, oracles, and the like. I shoot him a disappointed frown, only to be met with his painfully blank gaze. Clearly, someone's got their poker face down pat. A history buff? Don't take this the wrong way, but you totally give off that vibe. Why would I take it the wrong way? I give a casual shrug, and he offers a smile in return. It's not exactly brimming with joy, but hey, I'll take what I can get. Get some rest. We got a busy night ahead of us. It's hard to put up a fight against common sense, especially when you're running on empty. I give him a vague wave, settle onto the couch amid a few stray papers, and let myself sink into the deep, dark void of rest. A few hours prior. Huh. Sounds like the street racers are outside of our complex now. The steady drone of machinery blends with the aroma of ancient dust and robust alchemy, conjuring a palpable atmosphere that teases the senses. It's a relentless reminder of the raw power in action, a sensation that never leaves you, no matter how far away you go. Is it a common theme across Tremere Labs, or did she add a personal twist just for my sake? Bah, that's beside the point tonight. Tonight, the stakes are sky high, no room for getting sidetracked. Aisling Sturbridge says, or she's the regent, one of the regents of the Tremere, and says, or she is the regent of the Tremere. I am only going to ask this once. You do understand all the specifics, correct? The procedure and the risks that come with it? My gaze drifts down to my neckline, the symbol of my cause, and I nod in silent agreement. Make no mistake, should you attempt to violate our arrangement, I have my methods to track you down. Believe me, that would be far less pleasant than what's coming next. Let's just get this over with, shall we? I'm instantly hit with pain so intense it feels like my flesh is being torn asunder, and no matter how much I try, I can't black out for even the briefest moment of blissful reprieve. My consciousness clings on, as stubborn as I am, as if making me pay for my plentiful sins, or paving the road with the new ones to come. But the agony is worth it, and so is the prize that's coming after. Is this the end of night one? That was the end. So it's 6 nights until the new year. But I do have some things that I want to attend to before our group meeting this evening. But I had a lot of fun playing this first night. If this has been enjoyable for you, I'm going to be back on next Saturday if I'm looking at my schedule right. We may play this game again. We may play something different. Just depends. We'll see how my voice holds up. And if you're feeling some of the other games or this vibe, I would recommend highly playing the other games in the series. Coteries of New York is the first game. Shadows of New York is the second game. The first game definitely has a cast of characters that's a lot of fun. You'll meet the Council and the Prince. Those are the folks that we saw in Elysium. And then the coterie of different characters, which you do get to play multiple characters in that one. That's kind of cool. Shadows of New York is, I would say, it's a little more heavy on the visual novel side of it, and not so. I mean, it's character driven, but it doesn't have all the action or as much action as the first one does. So, something to think about. And as for myself, I am Martian Cat, and you can find me on my personal channel Here on Twitch, it's the same screen name, obviously. It's Martian Cat, MartianKat. And then I'm also on Blue Sky, and you can find me there with the same screen name. It's Martian Cat. You know, no underscore or anything like that. I also do have Instagram and Threads if you're interested, and that is Martian Cat underscore. So MartianKat with an underscore after it. And I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the evening. Thank you so much for coming to join us here on the Real Women of Gaming. Check out the panels. You can also check out our website, which is therealwomenofgaming.com. We have, articles and top 10 reviews, all kinds of really cool stuff there. You can check out, our previous charity work, among other things, and find out how to, connect and join with us. All are welcome. So with that, I will see you all next time. Have a good rest of your Saturday and the rest of your weekend. Thank you so much for spending it with me, and I will catch you later. Good night.